hot for TV.
Good evening, good day, good whatever. Welcome back to episode 9 of Doctor Who Too Hot for TV. I'm Dylan.
I'm Jack.
And we're here to talk about all things Doctor Who Extended Universe. So, we'll get straight into the news. Big Finish have just announced a box set called Master! With Eric Roberts as the Master and Chase Masterson playing Vienna Salvatore. Now, Masterson, that's an anagram of...
Son of Master.
Yes. No, that's not true. It's the long game they've been playing. So how do you feel about the return of Eric Roberts as Master?
Well, he's back, and it's about time. I'm very happy it's happening, even though I will never listen to it.
I know there's not a chance in hell. I will listen to the trailer and go, he sounds like he's talking through his dentures after years of grinding his teeth away doing too much cocaine.
I will happily rewatch his Mythmakers. I just won't listen to him acting.
Yeah, I don't think I can take Eric Roberts and Chase Masterson in one box set. It's too much hammy American for me. They've also just announced a new Third Doctor box set, which is the first Third Doctor box set to feature entirely recast parts. So you've got Tim Treloar as the Third Doctor. You've got the Brigadier, played by John Coleshaw. You've got Liz Shaw, played by Daisy Ashford, and Sadie Miller playing Sarah Jane Smith. That's like the takeover of Big Finish there, isn't it? That's like their future in a box set.
Yeah, it's the Auton invasion. The Waxworks have taken over.
Do you know what else had an exclamation mark that came out recently?
What?
Daleks! Episode 1. The animated Dalek series.
Okay.
Seen any of it?
No.
So this is part of Time Lord Victorious, and it looks like a 90s video game, which is a bit odd. And I watched the first episode, and it's a lot of fun, but it's this weird thing that it's neither the relentless Dalek Empire or the fun of like the 1960s comics. So it's this weird kind of hybrid. It never goes quite in the right direction of either of them, but it's worth checking out.
I know nothing about this. Is this the kind of thing that a fan has done much better on a YouTube channel, and the BBC have done it on a much smaller budget?
Absolutely that, yeah. Also, more Daleks. It's all about the Daleks today. Doctor Who magazine presents The Daleks. The TV comic strips have been re-released and they've been re-scanned. They found like 2/3 of the originals and they look glorious. Have you got any memories of those?
I'm sure they must have reprinted them in Doctor Who Monthly.
Yeah.
On the back page for a bit. I remember reading them there. It was sexy.
Myself and Gareth Preston looked at these on a special episode of Doctor Who Too Hot for TV several months back, and it's well worth picking up if you get a chance.
So bumpy.
I don't know how you describe it. It's just very 60s. It's like before kind of Dalek lore had kind of seeped into the nation's conscious and canon was a thing. It's basically Terry Nation's Dalek series where the Daleks are the star and every now and then something humanoid comes along and gets destroyed. Series 13 of Doctor Who's began filming. Whoever thought that day would come in a global pandemic?
Unlucky number.
Unlucky for some. 8 brand new episodes. How do you feel about that?
Well, surely they're going to be the best episode of Doctor Who ever because they've had so much time to refine the scripts and really hone in on, making a good quality product.
I can only imagine. Episode 1, Distance of the Daleks.
Yeah.
Will be a whole social distancing thing.
The socially distanced invasion. The seeds of Zoom.
Very good.
The cough of Axos.
Very good. Mask of Mandragora, same title, but, it's just another mask, isn't it? So I'm very excited about that. I really enjoyed last series of Doctor Who, so that will be out in 2021, which I don't think anybody was expecting to see.
Yeah. It will all be done with sock puppets.
About time. Arc Press have released an anthology of stories about Wedge, but actually I believe it's pronounced Hue. Chris Hue. Hue.
Just call him Chris. Why not just Chris?
The New Adventures character. And it also features loads of other spin-off characters from various different mediums. And I've read a story from that. And I'm planning to read a few more and do some interviews. And it's really, really good stuff.
He was like Captain Jack, but without any of the annoying ballsy adventuring stuff.
He just fucked his way around the universe, seriously.
Yeah, sexually fluid space cop who was built like a brick shit house. Get a wedge of Quedge.
So, today we're looking at, since it's November, the month of Doctor Who, we're looking at multi-Doctor stories.
Yeah.
Can you remember the first multi-Doctor story you ever saw?
I think that was my birth, because there were several doctors there and nurses. It's probably the 5 Doctors. I don't know when I saw that, but that registers more than the 3 Doctors. Probably because I really like Peter Davison. Yeah, it's full of Doctor Who's looking slightly older.
Which is how they should always look in multi-Doctor stories.
Yeah.
The first one I saw was The 5 Doctors. And The 5 Doctors was not only my first multi-Doctor story, it was my first experience of the 5th Doctor and the 1st Doctor, albeit played by an imposter. But I remember loving it as a kid. And it's still my favourite multi-Doctor story because it's just so much fun. And it's got... They just throw loads of classic elements on it. Do you have a favourite multi-Doctor story?
The Timeless Children.
Wow.
No.
Get out.
No, I will say The Day of the Doctor.
Yeah.
Even if it is full of just the Doctor trying to be a laddie, flirty pants lad doctors. I really like it.
Yeah, I like it too. And I think the way that they kind of make up for the lack of a classic Doctor, or indeed Christopher Eccleston, by creating the War Doctor, who's kind of an embodiment of all of the classic series, just about gets away with the fact that you don't really notice they're not all there.
Yeah, yeah.
And beyond TV, have you experienced many multi-Doctor stories?
I'm a big fan of Zagreus.
Yeah.
Because that for me was like a live version of the 5 Doctors, but on audio.
They're not really playing the Doctor though, are they?
I know, but it was it was a big event. And at the end it turns out they are the Doctor. That's the twist at the end. And then beyond that, a bloody good 2 Doctor story is Interference by Lawrence Miles, in which the 3rd Doctor and the 8th Doctor have 2 adventures that basically slightly overlap. They have like one scene together, but they have 2 separate adventures and lots of elements cross over. And I'm going to spoil it here. They have the great twist of at the end of it, the 3rd Doctor dies and regenerates into the 4th Doctor.
Early.
3 stories early. It's brilliant.
A premature regeneration. My favourite non-TV multi-Doctor story is The Air Zone Solution. I just squint really hard and pretend that for some reason the 6th Doctor became a weatherman for a bit.
A great multi-Doctor story on TV at the moment is Life with Peter Davison and David Troughton, and they both play retired doctors. And if you squint, it's Doctor Who story.
It's the 70th anniversary special.
Yeah, but just with more divorces and births and things like that.
It's Bill Bagg's next film. There's a few multi-Doctor stories in the Big Finish range. They're actually really good at not doing too many, because I think that the multi-Doctor stories are a case of diminishing returns a little bit, and they've always strayed away from it. And I remember Zagreus being particularly a case where Gary Russell was like, well, if we do a big multi-Doctor story, everybody will say it won't live up to the hype, so let's do something different. And everybody said it didn't live up to the hype anyway. So I think I'm surprised that the main TV show haven't gone down that sort of Zagreus route. And maybe they will at some point.
They should do something with Matt Smith or David Tennant, because they're the big popular Doctors and they're still around on TV. That I can see an episode where it's suddenly the internet breaks and they're like, David Tennant came back for 20 minutes in last night's Doctor Who. Did you see it? And it turned out he wasn't the Doctor. He was, a clone or something.
Well, he'll be fucking Rose's Doctor, won't he?
Yeah, the fucking Rose Doctor.
The fucking Rose Doctor. The most recent multi-Doctor story I heard from them was the Sirens of Time sequel, like the 20 years of Doctor Who at Big Finish. 20 years of Doctor Who at Big Finish, that's fucking nuts, isn't it? I can't remember what it was called. Sirens something.
The Tyrants of Sime.
That was it. The Cirencester of Time. And it features like all their Doctors that they've got. And then at the end, you get David Tennant show up. Nobody mentions the 9th Doctor. You get David Bradley show up. You get Fraser Hines as the 2nd Doctor.
Oh, the light at the end?
No, after the light at the end.
Oh.
You get Tim Treloar? I'm going to have to look it up. What's it called? There we go. The Legacy of Time. Ah. So you get like Doctors 4 through to 8, and then David Tennant, 9, and then Pretend 1 to 3. It's a good little story. Well, actually, I say it's not a good little story. It's 4 fucking hours long, and you're only there for the last 10 minutes when they all get together and they all get a line each. Because what happens, you get the same character played by 10 different people in a room, and you have to give them all a couple of lines each, and it just makes that you can see why they stay away from it on TV.
Yeah, it's like, you look fat, you look thin, we're the same, I'm talking to myself, and I press this and put that there.
That's basically it.
How do you do, Doctor? I'm okay, Doctor.
That is.
See you in 40 years.
That is the 60th anniversary story right there. Except we know the 60th anniversary is going to be Jodie Whittaker with loads of doctors we've never seen before. So Doctor Who Out of Time 1, as this is known, was released in August of 2020. So that was only a few months ago. News at the time, the 9th Doctor audios were announced. We've already covered that on this. Naomi Cross was announced as joining Big Finish as Eleanor Crox, accompanying the 4th Doctor and Harry in a box set that's due out in March 2024. Yeah, they are fully getting their money's worth out of Tom Baker in order to make him the 2-pack of Doctor Who's releasing CDs long after he's gone. Also out was the Power of the Daleks animation re-release on Blu-ray and DVD with updated animation and about 0.6 seconds of newly discovered Power of the Daleks footage, which literally involves like somebody's head turning, and that's about it. There were film trims. Other big finishes out were Big Finish, The 6th Doctor and Perry, Volume 1, and this is the beginning of them slowly phasing out the main range and bringing all the Doctors to box sets, because what's the point in the monthly range anymore? And The Massacre was released on vinyl, and Time Lord Victorious was starting to gear up. Now, Doctor Who magazine, where I got this information from, I don't really dip into Doctor Who magazine that much anymore, but I'm still a subscriber. Every article in it is about the pre-Chibnall era. So you've got a 5-page article where DWM had unearthed some pictures of a Lemonade advert featuring the 4th Doctor, a 9-page article on Doctor Who on satellite TV, 5 pages on the year 1971, 5 pages on Fury from the Deep, the animation, and no comic strip at all. Now, there's been all these rumours about fandom that the Doctor Who production team just don't really have that relationship with the magazine anymore. Because in the whole thing, there's only 4 pictures of Jodie Whittaker. I'm not like, oh, look how unpopular the current Doctor is. It just seems really odd that the magazine is just very much like a nostalgia piece. It feels more like the magazine did in the late 90s than it did 2 or 3 years ago.
Yeah, are all the pictures of Jodie Whittaker covered in like black felt tip?
One of them was the size of a telesnap and was the back of a head.
Yeah.
One of them was a cover of a comic they previously did, and then there was just a couple of random pictures in there.
Do you think there's a Doctor Who culture war about to break out?
I think so. I think Doctor Who fans are going to split into 3 very separate groups. Classic series and new series up to Capaldi, and then new series only, and maybe a 4th one which is just Jodie Whittaker, and a 5th splinter group that is strictly Joe Martin. That's the only Doctor they consider canon.
I'm Who neutral. It's all the same old shit, isn't it?
It is. I mean, it's about a space wizard in a box. So try not to get angry about it, guys. This was recorded 26th of March and 4th of May 2020 during lockdown. So this was peak lockdown Who. Normally I would read the full plot here, but as this is a relatively new story, I'm not going to spoil the end, so I'm just going to read the cover blurb, and then we'll do sort of 5 minutes chat about our general thoughts on it before we get into spoilers. So if you haven't heard it yet, we're not going to completely spoil it for you, because usually most of the things we cover are 20 years old, and if you haven't heard it in 20 years, you're not in any rush to hear it.
Too hot for TV.
The Cathedral of Contemplation is an enigma existing outside of time. It turns through history, opening its doors across the universe to offer solace for those in need. Occasionally, the Doctor drops in. When he's avoiding his destiny, it's an ideal place to get some perspective. Only this time, he's already there from several lives earlier. So when dimension barriers break down, his past and present collide. And when the Daleks invade and commandeer the cathedral, 2 Doctors must unite to stop them or face extermination twice over. So, what do you think?
Well, this was my first foray into New Big Finish for quite a long time. I can't remember the last time I properly dipped into relatively new Big Finish. And it was my first Tom Baker Big Finish audio. I haven't really finished one. And my first David Tennant one.
Give me your overall thoughts on it.
It was very pleasant. it was nice to run around with two doctors on audio. And boy, did I run.
It's a bit like an hour-long time crash.
Yes.
In that you're very excited to see them there, but obviously, actually, it's just, in Time Crash's case, them dicking about in the TARDIS and here.
Yeah.
Considering it's the unlimited format of audio, it's just them dicking about in a couple of corridors and some library rooms.
Yeah.
It's not exactly a spacefaring epic.
Yeah.
By any sense of the imagination at all. You hadn't heard any Tom Baker. Had you heard David Tennant? Did you say that already?
No, I haven't heard any audios by him. And I was always wary because I remember when in the lead up to The Waters of Mars, there was the wedding of Sarah Jane in the Sarah Jane Adventures, and that was his last TV performance as the Doctor, along with a comic relief sketch or something. And I remember, because you can tell, as much as I like David Tennant, he looks really dead behind the eyes in the show because you can tell he's just done. And he's done his big emotional farewell at the end of time, and then he's got to run around, running away from the trickster with a bunch of kids in the Sarah Jane Adventures. And I always thought he's done what he can do with the part. I don't want to hear him again. But surprisingly, audio is a lot more flattering for him to return, and it was actually kind of good. And enough time has passed. And
he's probably sat there in his pants doing it.
Yes.
Like we are now. The beauty of audio recording.
Yeah, Peter Davison bringing him a cup of coffee.
Just, can you get me in your show? Can you get me in your show? Colin's on the phone, he wants a job too. So, I mean, that's kind of my general feeling of it. I say we're going to dip into spoiler territory from now on, but there's not a lot to spoil. Like, there's not a big plot twist.
Well, I would say what ties this in with most other multi-Doctor stories is that they don't really have a genre or like a tone. A multi-Doctor story is the story in of itself. And occasion, like, it takes a really specific writer to be like, no one goes in and is like, I'm going to do a multi-Doctor story, but it's a murder mystery and it's all going to be centered around that. The idea always kind of waters down whatever story is around it because it's just such a big thing, and you've got to maneuver the Doctors into particular places to get them in a room to say funny things at each other. That it would take a really talented writer to turn it into something different.
Yeah.
And really, everybody's just happy for it to be. They turn up and there's some Daleks.
Yeah, I think it's this thing of, it's a bit like The Day of the Doctor. Now, The Day of the Doctor is a clever story in that it kind of jumps around in time and plays with certain themes of the show. But you go into it expecting this big epic thing of the Time War and multi-Doctors, and you get that for about 10 minutes. The rest of the time, it's just them dicking around in a forest and some fields with Zygons, and that's a bit what this is like. It's like, oh, the Daleks have shown up because it's a multi-Doctor story, and they're going to have to fight. Will these two past Doctors possibly defeat the dreaded Daleks? Probably, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, again, the Lawrence Miles thing, if one of them had died at the end, that would have been almost a lot more exciting, and you would have been like, fucking hell.
Well, and this is a tangential thing, but Day of the Doctor, what if you edited it and you had the Time War flashback scenes at the end? So it begins with a romp with Zygons, and then John Hurt is turning up as a mysterious figure, and then you see where he's come from. Is that a better story?
Get Moffat on the phone. It's not too late.
No, I reckon you could edit that. You could edit that as it has been recorded.
You're working from home now. You could do that. Come on. That's what you do with your spare time.
Come on.
Make us a better edit of Day of the Doctor. So let's talk about the Doctors. You were saying that actually now time has passed. You thought that hearing Tennant again was enjoyable. Do you think he recaptures his Doctor?
I think it's quite close. I don't think he goes as zany.
Yeah.
But I think he does a pretty good. Yeah. No, there's nothing more to it.
It's very much like him season 2, season 3.
Yeah.
Like, it's before he's gone completely over the top and kind of shouty, but he still gets a bit shouty. But I like him. Like, there's a few odd lines. Like, someone says, I'm going to have to confiscate your sonic device. And he goes, do I get it back after school? And he sounds really kind of creepy when he says it. Like, it's meant to be dirty, but it's like, it's just like, don't say that, Doctor.
Yeah.
Just don't say that. But then there's other stuff, like, I love it when one of those all-knowing Doctor Who lines when he goes, oh, nobody walks through a door quite like him.
Hmm.
And when he goes, "Oi, Daleks, the floor is lava," that's the sort of gag his Doctor would have made at the time. Had the floor is lava been a thing, which I don't think it was. I mean, it's still an outdated gag for Doctor Who, but I mean, Doctor Who never quite hits the now, does it?
Yeah.
It's always at least a few years out of step with popular culture.
Well, I'm looking forward to the contemporary stories of COVID in a year and a half's time.
Me too. The Fifth Doctor, the COVID box set.
Yeah. With this, the thing that I was most wary about was the fact that they were recording separately, and I always thought, is it going to sound just like two people performing to themselves? And it doesn't. It's fine.
It's because they're professional actors, Jack.
I know, but it's still, performance acting.
It is performance and acting, and there are, for whatever we may say about Tom Baker now, Tom Baker has been a professional actor for X amount of years, and they do record a lot of these plays separately anyway. Like, Paul McGann doesn't often record with everybody else. So
I know, but what I will say is, if you think of something like Death Comes to Time, there are some pretty good performances in that. Remember when there's the scene with Stephen Fry and Sylvester McQueen in Death Comes to Time?
Yeah.
And that's the only, the performances are so good that it's the thing that comes from having two really good actors in the same recording studio. Yeah. And so it isn't a foolproof way to always separately record things. No, but for this it was fine because it's not Breaking Bad.
It's not Breaking Bad. Let's talk about the Fourth Doctor, Tom Baker.
Yeah.
Do you think he sounds older? Do you think he is recapturing his performance? Because you've always said that he's just playing old Tom Baker.
I did enjoy his performance, surprisingly so. It's just the fact that his voice is so much deeper. And the thing, I enjoyed his performance, and it made me go, oh, maybe I should listen to some of the other Fourth Doctor stories. And I'm sure we will at some point. But I always thought Big Finish are taking this move to recast different characters. It would only take a moment to modify Tom Baker's voice to make it sound slightly higher in pitch as to when he was in his 40s as opposed to now when he's a husky John Hurt type figure. And I don't think that's offensive.
No, I don't think it is. I mean, I don't think he's too far from his Doctor. Like, he's certainly more his Doctor here than he has been in, like, the Ness Cottage series and things like that.
Yeah. And I didn't mind those, though.
I don't mind them. It doesn't really feel like Doctor Who. As you said, it kind of feels like the adventures of Tom Baker in time and space in a cottage.
It feels like a 70s anthology horror show, which I quite like. Tom Baker presents spooky stories in the cottage.
I'm in. It's set after the invasion of time. Does it feel like that?
Fuck no.
It's not quite Williams era enough. It hasn't kind of got that Douglas Adams feel to his dialogue. There are certain things that jar for me. So hearing the Fourth Doctor with new series Daleks and like Dalek duplicates and things like that, I know it shouldn't because it's only a TV series, but that sort of stuff really jars with me when they take certain elements of the new series and put them into the old. And it's just my personal thing. It just sounds weird. I want to hear Tom Baker against slightly more wobbly voiced Daleks.
Yeah.
But that's just me. So the Doctors together, I think they're the most kind of standard version of each of their Doctors, but I don't think it's a bad thing. And I've got to say, the first meeting, which is usually what you go for, and you're like, oh, this is the scene I'm going to write really well. It isn't exciting as it should be, I don't think.
Yeah, well, I think it's because they do it quite early on, and it's not the denouement isn't getting the Doctors together. It's more, it's a bit like the Three Doctors, as in Patrick Troughton just turns up in the TARDIS.
Yeah.
But I really enjoyed their last scene together.
Yeah.
And I do like it when they talk about the differences between them.
So the last scene is they sort of had a little conversation, and David Tennant goes, "You'll settle down with a nice time lady and get a dog."
Yes.
Which I think is probably a very sweet way of looking at that sort of season 17, season 18 Doctor. Although by season 18 they've adopted a bastard child and they're fucking miserable and heading for divorce. But yeah, no, that's sweet. There's nice little things like them playing rock, paper, scissors together and the David Tennant's incarnation losing, which I think is quite fun. I don't think it's an epic enough story to warrant bringing them together.
What it is, it's a multi-Doctor story done as like a mid-season story, not as a big finale. But I didn't mind that because the Doctors in themselves have had their most epic stories, and I didn't put any event on this. I went in with really low expectations and came out quite surprised.
There's quite a guest cast. I mean, there's like 4 or 5 names in there, and they've all got big careers. But I mean, did the guest cast make an impact?
No, no.
And that's nothing against them because they're all decent actors with decent careers. But it's just like there's these 2 big personalities and these 2 big of your favourite characters, and so anybody else like is just going to struggle.
Yeah, I've no disrespect to the writer, but I reckon it must have been it's lockdown. We know that Tom Baker and David Tennant aren't leaving their houses. We need a story with them. Write one. And I like the setting. It's a really cool idea. But the actual story, it's just Daleks in rooms and people running between them.
So it was written by a Matt Fitton. He has done quite a lot of Big Finish in the kind of later half, post Gary Russell, sort of post new series coming back. Some of the highlights include Black and White, The Wrong Doctor, Dark Eyes, Doom Coalition, Ravenous, and most of their new series range. And he's written some good stuff. And I as you say, I don't think this is a bad script, but it feels like it was turned around quickly. And it's really about having the 2 characters there. I mean, and I've got to say this: why are the Daleks there? Because it's Doctor Who.
They put the Dalek time controller in there. He's the big
bad, right?
Yeah, he's the big G.
Yeah.
In Big Finish Dalek world, they've made an action figure of him.
Yes, they have. Like, there's lots of nice little touches, like the 4th Doctor going there to restore paintings. Although that seems more of a Tom Baker idea than like his.
No, I really like that because he's painting in the start of Underworld. He comes out in an artist's smock, and I thought, that actually works.
Yeah, very good. Well noted there. Well done for remembering anything from Underworld.
It's the last thing I remember, and it happens in the first 2 minutes.
I mean, I don't have too much more to say about it. Is there anything you want to say on it?
It's got one of the worst lines in all of Big Finish. Even though I think it's a good story. It's not great, but it is good. But it does have one of the worst lines in Big Finish.
Hit me.
I'm paraphrasing, but the 10th Doctor is tied up and is talking to the Daleks, and then goes, "I've just been talking to you long enough so that my friend can come up behind you with her dad's gun," which is exposition.
It is exposition, and it's radio exposition. And do you know what? To be fair, Big Finish get away with it so many times, where they do hundreds of plays, and you don't really notice anything like that. But when you do hear it, it sticks out like a sore thumb.
Also, I think that David Tennant is a good enough actor that for him, he should have gone, "Do you think we can rephrase this?"
Or he was just thinking, "I've got 19 kids. It's lockdown. How can I earn a quick few grand? Oh, Nick Briggs wants me to pretend to be someone I was 10 years ago for 45 minutes. I tell you one thing that's very exciting and will never not be exciting is hearing the David Tennant Murray Gold theme tune again. Yeah. When that pops off, I was very excited. I was ready for 45 minutes of the Doctor and Rose. But instead we got the Doctor and the Doctor.
It suits Tom Baker on audio as well. I don't know why, but it does. Yeah,
I will go with that.
But not Peter Davison.
Not Peter Davison, no. So, I mean, speaking of which, there's 2 more Out of Times that are coming out. Do you know
I didn't know this.
Out of Time 2, The Gates of Hell, the 10th Doctor joins forces with the 5th Doctor to fight the Cybermen in the catacombs of Paris.
The stepdad of time.
Doctor Who Out of Time 3, Wink. The 10th Doctor and the 6th Doctor take on the Weeping Angels on a distant planet where no one has the power of sight.
Wink.
Wink. I hope it's got the monoids in it as well.
Shit. Is there one with the 3rd Doctor and the Weeping Angels called Splink?
We can only hope. So, Doctor Who Out of Time 1. Would you say it's a clanger or a banger?
I think it's a moderate banger.
Yes. it only gets away with it because of the charisma of its two leads.
Yes.
Too hot for TV.
So, what are your thoughts as to what an anniversary multi-Doctor story would look like in the new series with Jodie Whittaker?
What do I want it to be like, or what do I think it'll be like?
Both.
I think it will be a bunch of unknown incarnations of the Doctor with David Tennant popping in for 2 minutes at the end, or Matt Smith, depending on who's available, or maybe even Christopher Eccleston. What I would actually like is all the new series Doctors, plus McGann, because I'm a nerd. I don't know whether they'll deliver on it.
Yeah.
I think the last time you could have done an all-new series Doctors thing was probably the Day of the Doctor. And that was probably also the last time you were going to get McGann properly. Yeah. So,
do you think the next equivalent of the Great Curator is just an older David Tennant?
I think it's
Matt Smith.
I think it's either one of them. Also, like, now they jump around with the ages of the Doctors. The Doctors die out of order. Like, John Hurt's already fucked it up.
Yeah.
So it's... But then, when is always the last time you could get them? For instance, I remember thinking in 1993 how much Colin Baker didn't look like his Doctor. Now you look at Colin Baker in 1993 and you're like, he basically looks like his Doctor. Look at him now.
Yeah.
And that's, Peter Davison looked like his Doctor up until about 10 years ago. So it kind of depends on the aging, but also about who's relevant in pop culture.
Yeah.
So I think Matt Smith and David Tennant are the ones that kind of stick in people's mind and they'll always try and get back.
Yeah.
What about you?
Well, I've got a script here. Which explains how they could get away with it in the TV show.
Hit us.
All right, Doc, where are we now? Who are all these people? These are my other selves, Graham. Parallel Doctors from across the multiverse. There's Richard E. Grant, Rowan Atkinson, the three Hartnells, and all four versions of Tommy Baker. Cactus Man and all. And who are them kids? Those are my tiny time-top selves, Graham. All 44 of them. And who the bloody hell's that fella? Who does he think he's playing at? Oh, Ecky Thump. That is my parallel second Doctor, where I spent the entire incarnation in blackface. He doesn't normally get invited to these anniversaries. Mates. All right, yes, what's the palaver about? Oh, giant ice lollies and TARDIS are melting. Oh no, that can only mean one thing. Budgetary entropy. In English, Doc. We've blown the budget on bringing back and deep faking all these past and parallel Doctors. We'll have no money for the next 50 years at this rate. Still, the show must go on. So you intend to go rattling around the universe in low-budget sets, see list celebrity cameos, and stories nipped from whatever's on in the cinema? Why not Graham? After all, that's how it all started.
Brilliant. Well, he's hit us again with another... He's doing it better than Chibnall.
I don't think lockdown's affected me that much.
Do you sit in your room late at night cackling to yourself, making up weird Doctor Who fan fiction?
Oh, it's the meds.
Too hot for TV.
So Emperor of the Daleks
was
released gearing up to the 30th anniversary of Doctor Who, which was my first big anniversary of the programme, and yours too, being that you were 3.
Yeah.
And I remember this because I was 10. I remember it being quite exciting at the time. And the kind of Doctor Who's, they're going to do something. It's going to be back. And I think people forget at this time, Doctor Who wasn't just cancelled and gone from the public consciousness. I think there's a great deal of nostalgia from like the early 90s through to the 30th anniversary, through to around the TV movie time, where there's lots of repeats, there's documentaries, like there's a fondness for Doctor Who, but it's seen as a nostalgia, a kind of kitsch thing that's on BBC Two on a Friday night, not on BBC One prime time. So it was always kind of present, even if it wasn't like mainstream.
Yeah. Did they get on the front of the Radio Times?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They got on for the 40th, and they didn't do fuck all for the 40th. They just got Tom Baker in like a weird version of his season 18 costume, looking old as fuck. Peter Davison in a white suit. So yeah, they got on the front cover thanks to a little thing called Dimensions in Time.
Yeah. Sorry, that's my favourite Doctor story. I totally forgot.
Mine too. I enjoy it more than I probably should. So In gearing up to the 30th anniversary, the early cassette recordings of Fury from the Deep and Power of the Daleks came out. Do you remember those cassette recordings with Tom Baker narrating as the Doctor, talking about his former selves? And they were like, obviously, we're spoiled with all the kind of restoration that goes into it, but they really were microphones against a television recordings from the past, just with Tom Baker talking over.
Yeah.
But I mean, now both of those stories have been animated, but at the time it was like peering into someone's living room from the 60s, but with Tom Baker being a bit weird and irreverent in the background. There are also rumours that a Doctor Who radio play written by Eric Saywood was about to start recording. This turned out not to exactly be true. It turned out to be The Paradise of Death, written by Barry Letts, starring Jean Pertwee as Doctor Who. John Pertwee felt like the incumbent Doctor of the 90s up until between like 90 and 95. He was just like, if you got a Doctor Who on your chat show, on your TV show, it was John Pertwee, and he was always in a cape.
Yes.
So it kind of felt like, of course, they got him to do the audio play.
He was I remember him appearing on Noel's House Party for Dimensions in Time.
And he goes, dear, I've never gone this far back in time before.
Yeah. But the thing is that he appears on Noel Edmonds' House Party and the crowd goes fucking mental.
Yeah, they lose their shit because it's John Pertwee.
Oh dear, it's really done my eyes. I think I need to see the doctor. All right.
Well. I've never gone this far back in time before.
I think it's because the people that will have watched him in the 70s are now grown up and getting on a bit enough as adults that he is the idea of what the Doctor is. Tom Baker's in exile because he's shaved off his curls, so no one recognises what Tom Baker looks like now.
Yeah.
But John Pertwee still looks like he does, and the nostalgia of the show is the 70s, and so no one really cares about Sylvester McCoy, even though he was the last Doctor on TV.
I think that's 100% true, and I think you get this, and I think you'll get this with the new series, and I think you get it even now. I give it another 5 years when all the new series fans who grew up with it start having kids.
Yeah.
And they'll be talking about how Christopher Eccleston maybe a little bit, but he'll be sort of relegated to the Troughton thing. But how Matt Smith and David Tennant were the good Doctors, and then it went downhill for a bit.
Yeah.
And then there'll be a whole nother regeneration, if you will. But also, around this time, the video releases had kicked up a notch, and the main ones they were releasing were the big hitters of Baker and Pertwee. So even if you ask most people who got into it in the 90s who their first Doctor is, they'll say it was John Pertwee or Tom Baker again.
I hope they bring back Noel's House Party in the future and an older David Tennant appears in the door frame, leaning against it just like John Pertwee did.
So do I. And I hope that the severed head of John Hurt and Christopher Eccleston float around at the beginning.
Yeah. They said he was thick. I thought he was talking about his waist.
So Paradise of Death happened. Also, very oddly, Paradise of Death with the Fifth Doctor theme tune. What's that about, BBC? Come on. The new adventures out at the time were The Pit and Deceit. Ever read them?
The Pit, I think, was voted one of the worst Doctor Who books of all time.
Really?
And Deceit, I think, brought back Ace. Ace was really upset with the Doctor, so she left for a few books. Deceit was a Virgin New Adventures featuring comic strip star Absalom Dack.
Well, it's all tied in. So videos released at the time included The Demons, newly recolorized. That was a big thing around the 30th anniversary. Tomorrow's World did a big thing on Doctor Who restored from the past.
Yeah.
They pulled out the colour signal. The Twin Dilemma marked the first time that a Sixth Doctor story was released. Image of the Fendal came out. Enlightenment, Silver Nemesis in its silver and green box.
Such a shit cover.
It's such a shit cover. So like 90s disco.
It looks like the sign for like a paintball park.
Such an odd choice as well. Also out on video for the first time, In Memory Alone, the Strange One set at the train station. The one that everybody goes, I sort of like that one. It was a bit sapphire and steel. And speaking of nostalgia, Return to Devil's End. Have you ever seen that?
No, but I had it for a month. That's a bad joke. No, I've never seen Return to Devil's End.
That's worth a shout. It's just all the cast of the Demons walk in. Because I don't know whether you know this. If you were in Doctor Who in the Pertwee era, your favourite story is the Demons, because it was just a case of the right script and the right people at the right time. And they all love it and can't look at it objectively at all.
Right.
So they roam around the locations and they talk about, well, it's over here, you know, that's where Bocht is. And you said they're 5 rounds rapid, and they'll go, ha, 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 ha. It's great fun. It's a good documentary. Well worth a watch. And finally, the BBC announced they were listening to fans, and double videos would now be $16.99, like the time slip ones, not $21.99 like the Doctor Who ones normally are. Also out, tangential merchandise and fiction. Dalek Attack, the game. Do you remember that?
The PC game?
The PC game.
Yeah.
It was just a platform thing, and the Doctor had a sonic screwdriver that blew up Daleks.
Yeah, wouldn't happen now.
Would not happen now. And the pinball machine.
That came out then?
Yeah.
So that was an anniversary thing?
Yeah. They thought, what can we release for an anniversary that'll really get the fans going?
Yeah.
Pinball machine. The Troughton Dalek stories were novelised, which everyone was very excited about.
By radio DJ John Peel?
Yes, not that one. By sci-fi fan John Peel and friend of Terry Nation. And Eric Saywood said yes to novelising his 80s Dalek stories and the Robert Holmes story, Yellow Fever and How to Cure It. Now, Eric Saywood finally got round to doing those novelisations last year, and no script or outline is known to exist for Yellow Fever and How to Cure It, so who knows where Dwum got that from. And then finally, Doctor Who Magazine 202, Doctor Who is back. Just as they were going to press, The Dark Dimensions was announced. Doctor Who Magazine 203, it's been cancelled.
You know, I get sad when I hear about the Dark Dimension, because it sounds like in a parallel world that was nearly going to happen.
Yeah, it was close to happening. There's all sorts of stuff about the legitimacy of the writer, blah, 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 but it was certainly going to happen, but apparently they got the sums wrong. It was Philip Siegel who finally basically said, I think this is going to damage the reputation of Doctor Who. I'm trying to get a film off the ground, so don't do it.
Would it have looked shit?
Yes, it would.
Yeah.
But it would have had Rick Mayall as the main villain, and it would have been the last time to see them all together. But it wasn't really them together. It was an older Tom Baker story.
Yeah.
And then the others just played cameos, and John Pertwee and Colin Baker were pissed about that. Especially Pertwee, because, as we've just said, he's the face of Doctor Who in the 90s.
Yeah.
Too hot for TV.
The Sixth Doctor takes Perry to the planet Skaro to rescue his arch-nemesis Davros. Davros is being held on trial by the Daleks following his capture from Necros. The Sixth Doctor infects the Dalek city with a computer virus and rescues Davros to set up events for the future. The Seventh Doctor and Benny arrive on the planet Hell, encountering a Draconian, an Ice Warrior and an Earthling guarding the corpse of a young woman, the love of Absalom Dak, who then arrives to kidnap the Doctor. The group is quickly teleported away to the domain of Absalom Dak's employers, who are in fact Dalek agents, and they have all been ensnared into the heart of the Dalek city on Skaro. The Daleks wish to know where Davros is located, and the Doctor submits with his companions under Dalek control. They are taken to the far reaches of the galaxy where Davros is located. They locate him beside a giant pyramid which erupts with an army of 4 million Daleks, the remains of the frozen army on Spiridon. Davros' army overpowers the Doctor and they return to Skaro, where a civil war ensues. Dak overpowers Davros and injures him badly. The Doctor's virus causes a self-destruct mechanism, leaving the TARDIS crew to escape unscathed. Davros is saved by the Imperial Daleks and reconstructed as their Emperor.
Let's fire in with the big guns here. Let's talk about the big plot point, the canon-shattering revelation. The Daleks have landlines.
Do they?
Yes. You know, when the Sixth Doctor lands and is like, oh, there's this floaty thing, it carries data around, that's for when the landlines are down.
Ah.
Who would have thunk it?
It was, you know, it was the 90s. The internet wasn't really... The internet was just a square. It was 2 squares.
With two Doctor Who fans arguing on it.
Yeah. God, yeah. There'd be Doctor Who fan sites with scrolling text and like pixelated images of TARDISes and just you just go on there just to look at pictures of Doctor Who. like screen grabs, like, oh look, it's like the TV, but it's a picture of it on the internet.
I remember going to an internet cafe and just sitting there downloading images of like the Macra Terror and stuff like that.
It was, but not only that, it was like, I can get pictures of Doctor Who on a computer, and then I could print them out. It was incredible.
I remember being allowed like 30 minutes on the internet, and so just going, what was the script for the Highlanders like? Find it, print it out. And then I'd spend the evening reading a script, a fan translation of the Highlanders, going, God, this is as good as we're ever going to get.
I would take the pictures and I would put them into paint, and if you inverted the colours, it would look like they were being exterminated.
Yes. We've all done it.
Oh God, I feel so old.
And dirty. So, Emperor of the Daleks. I quite like this approach to a multi-Doctor story where it's not really a multi-Doctor story at all.
Yeah.
It avoids that thing we were talking about earlier of having to give 5 different people the lines. And realistically, 2 Doctors is probably the best number for a multi-Doctor story.
Yeah.
I think Stephen Moffat recognised that in The Day of the Doctor, and he was basically like, well, if we're really honest, 10 and 11 are pretty similar. So we can only really have 2 of that version. Then there's got to be an antagonist Doctor. If we can't get Christopher Eccleston, it makes sense for it not to be Paul McGann. So it's this John Hurt Doctor.
Yeah.
And so what they do here, this is more like, you know, the Witch's Familiar, Magician's Apprentice, where you get that little story at the beginning of the Doctor in the past.
Yeah.
And it kind of feeds into it but doesn't. And then you get flashbacks to Genesis of the Daleks, and you're like, this is a more fan-focused version of that, where rather than just feeding off the past, you feed off the past and intertwine it together, which is the sort of thing you can do in a comic, because nobody's aging, and you can take all the plot pieces, and I just think it works really well.
I liked how that was handled. I do have a big thing against stories which are quite rare, but they exist purely to fill in a gap.
Yeah.
And the function of this story is purely, well, how does Davros end up in that white Emperor casing in remembrance? And it pisses me off that that's the basis for the story, because everything that happens within it is pretty fun and cool, and I like all the elements. But Paul Cornell, you know better.
You should know better.
Because it isn't interesting enough. Like, if it was this is just a Davros story, then it's fine.
But I think this is peak 90s, but it does what... If you're a random person that's picking up Doctor Who magazine in 1993 because you've seen the repeat of the Time Meddler or something, then you go, oh look, a comic strip with Daleks, and that's enough to get you in. Even though you're only going to pick up 2 issues maybe, and you're never going to. That's not the thing that's going to get you back in. But if you're a fan in 1993, that's the ultimate anniversary story, isn't it? It's like they filled in the gaps between Remembrance and Revelation, and Spiridon.
Yes, yeah.
But you know, they go to all that trouble, don't they, Paul Cornell, if you're listening? You only put the wrong colour fucking Daleks on Spiridon, though, don't you? To suit your own purposes. So he's manipulating the canon.
So Davros arrives on Spiridon, finds all of these Daleks, and decides to repaint them white and gold. It's like,
of course.
Oh, these look hideous.
And stops them from looking like Palatoy Daleks. Makes them look like real Daleks.
Yeah. So at some point he's got to either hand paint them, which would take a long time, or he's got to build a machine that will paint Daleks and be like, and he's going through the book of colour swatches and being like, black and silver, glitter blue.
He tried them out
white
on his
and gold.
He tried them out on his Dapple Daleks first,
Yeah.
and then that's how they got that range of infinite coloured Millennium Daleks.
Yeah.
And then he went for that. When they did the Blu-ray of Planet of the Daleks, they replaced the model Daleks with CGI Daleks that look like the Daleks in the story.
That's
now,
cool.
if I was paying more money, I'd say, come on guys, replace them, tie it into this, replace those Daleks with the Daleks from Remembrance of the Daleks.
Or really colour the comic strip.
Well, there's only one episode in colour, isn't there?
Yes, yeah.
Which is very 90s Doctor Who as well.
They must have had the budget for that issue. I reckon that was the anniversary issue.
I think it was. I think it was issue 200, and they were just like, right, we're going into colour.
Yeah.
I'm surprised John Pertwee doesn't appear either side of it to do some introductory links outside the television centre.
You can always colour it in yourself when it's in black and white, or get some Quality Street wrappers and just hold them over the page.
So, how many of this era of comics have you actually read?
Barely any.
Yeah.
There's maybe, and they're odd because they all have strange relations to what's happening in either the books or even TV. Like I remember there's a strip in this collection from the time, which I remember reading at the time, called Cookie, and I remember looking at it and thinking, this is just ghost lights. Like, it's a Victorian story, and there's a monster in it that looks a bit like one of the monsters from Ghostlight. And I remember thinking, is that Ghostlight as a comic? And then they've got another one about Silurians on a parallel Earth, and there was new adventures along those lines. Yeah. And there's just an odd...
It's disjointed, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think Gary Russell says at some point that they were jumping around doing all sorts of things and there was no through line. And it's around this time where they just go, right, this is a continuing series.
Yeah.
But this story in particular really feels like a continuing series. There's lots of little like asterisks reference back to this one and this one and this one.
Yeah.
And I vaguely remember that kind of group of Dak. There's Benny, there's a Draconian, there's an Ice Warrior, and then there's like another guy with them, right?
Yeah, so but those characters are from like Doctor Who Weekly. Those are from the Absalom Dak backstrips.
And what do you know about Dak?
He's just... The premise is obviously, let's just take a big mainstream Hollywood action hero and just put him into a Dalek story, and he just goes around cutting up Daleks.
It's very 90s. What I would say is, though, why don't the Daleks just fucking exterminate him? He's there, and he's just smashing them up, and it's like, you are in a room of 1,000 Daleks, and not one of them is exterminating you. It just doesn't quite work.
But so he was made in the 70s.
Yeah, that sounds vaguely familiar.
So he was from the 70s backstrips. Again, where Croton was from, the Cybermen. So he was just... Yeah, I remember reading it thinking, there's like a sexy, scantily clad woman that he's in love with, and then there's him with all these muscles and like, God, he's going to cut up some Daleks. And it's like really odd, 'cause it's all this kind of tits and ass and testosterone put into fighting Daleks. but also this is in like Tom Baker's his cuddly comic strips at the front, and at the back it's just like, it's like Torchwood, but like 40 years earlier.
Well, that's what kids want, isn't it? The thing is, I've always had this theory that Doctor Who, especially the classic series, is quite reflective of what kids want, what they're not supposed to watch at the time. So in the 80s, it's like a Video Nasty, but a kid's version of a Video Nasty when Eric Saywood's in charge. Yeah. And so it is ultra violent, but it's violent in a way that isn't necessarily real. It does overstep the mark. And I think there's a lot to be said in a 90s version. I know you say Dak was created in the 70s, but of repurposing that character in the 90s to be like, we want, you know, in their minds, it's Arnold Schwarzenegger, it's Sylvester Stallone playing this action hero. Yeah. I quite enjoyed him. I also like the fact that he says "cruck you." I wonder what that could possibly mean. Yeah. Which precedes the Battlestar Galactica remake by about 25 years.
Do they say cruck in?
No, they say frack.
Frack.
Well, you know, they
Which
take
is space for fuck. The best bit of the comic is a bit where the Seventh Doctor's being interrogated, and they've got a mind probe up, and he casts an image of him as the Sixth Doctor talking to Davros, and he goes, "You know, that's Joseph Stalin. I am aware of him. Yes, that's you. That is." Which is that's about who were those comedians at the time?
It's Baddiel and Newman and Baddiel.
Yeah, but it's still, even if you didn't know that, that's just funny now.
The Daleks are very scheming in this, and I like it, and it feels like they have a little bit of discourse between themselves that feels like the 60s Dalek comics. But it does something that's always pissed me off about the Cybermen, is that, who's in charge? Oh, it's this guy here with a big brain on show. Yeah. And so they put a Dalek with a ridiculously massive brain. I'm like, this is so stupid. And then someone smashes it to bits, because, of course, that's what happened if you've got a big glass brain on show. Yeah. What do you think of the Daleks here?
They're pretty relentless. Yeah. I mean, there is a fuck ton of Daleks, more Daleks than you would ever see on TV.
I wonder if that's the first time you properly see that thing in Doctor Who, like that many Daleks until parting of the ways.
Yeah, it's close to that, but it's also it reminds me of in Asylum of the Daleks, the Dalek Parliament.
Yeah.
It's pretty much quite close to that, and it lands the Seventh Doctor, Benny and Absalom in the middle of that, and it is exciting. And it'd be more exciting if it wasn't prefaced with the idea of we're just nipping in to sort out some continuity.
Let me tell you about the Hand of Omega, mate. That might come in handy in the future. I do like them using Dak's girlfriend not only as a trap and also manipulating him by putting like fake humans in, but they don't just use her as a trap. They fucking turn her into a smoke bomb that knocks everybody out. That's pretty dark.
Yeah. I also like the fact that when there's a big Davros is on trial and the Emperor's making an announcement and two Daleks chat to each other at the back of the crowd.
Yeah, that's very TV comic. Also, let's talk about the Spiridons, who have got fucking hench since last time. They were all, in Wester, I can just about mix this brown stuff in a pot. Now they can pick up Daleks and throw them about and smash them together. They weren't getting fooled twice, were they?
They were lifting weights.
They've all been on steroids since Planet of the Daleks. And here they are. So you get a bit of Sixth Doctor at the beginning.
Yeah.
And it's nice to see him again, isn't it?
Yeah.
Especially in the 90s, because he wasn't very well treated by the BBC. I know he's only a drawing of the Sixth Doctor, but it's nice to see him. And he does the most irresponsible Sixth Doctor thing he does is land Perry on Skaro.
Yes.
One just goes, we're on Skaro, the home of the Daleks. Oh, you didn't tell me what we're doing here? No, just come on, I haven't got time for this. And then he walks into a room, shoots a Dalek in the eye stalk with a gun and gets them both exterminated. That is just adding to her PTSD of I thought I was going to be dead, but because we had a wire connected to us, we were fine. And then it quickly becomes a Seventh Doctor story. And he becomes the classic, the Great Manipulator. And I actually quite like the idea of the Seventh Doctor manipulating and the Sixth Doctor being in kind of cahoots.
Yeah. And
helping each other out. And even, again, an in-gag of I told you not to be so obvious by putting that mattress in Perivale.
Yeah.
Which
that annoys me because it's not a mattress, is it? It's a sofa.
I think it's a mattress.
Is it?
God, who knows?
Can we?
Yeah, you can look it up.
Oh, it's both.
Ah.
It's a rolled up mattress and a sofa. But he lands on the sofa.
Yeah, that's true. The great conundrum solved. Thank God for that. And I do like their little interaction they have at the end, where they just have a little chat, and Alpha Centauri's floating in the background. It's to me, that's kind of almost a better payoff.
Yeah.
And I'm Big Finish did it early on, didn't they? They did
Project Destiny, and that's a 2-disc, seemingly a multi-Doctor story with the Sixth Doctor and then the Seventh Doctor. And then in the second disc, which is the Seventh Doctor's, he meets the Sixth Doctor, but he turns out to be a clone.
Yeah.
And that's a good way of doing a multi-Doctor story.
And the one with at the beginning of the Klein trilogy, well, not trilogy, the Klein series, where the Seventh Doctor bumps into an alternative Earth Eighth Doctor who's like a Nazi soldier. The part was saying Paul McGann is playing this part, which isn't the Doctor, and then at the end of the first episode or something, it's revealed actually it kind of he is the Doctor in that universe.
What story was that?
I can't remember.
Was it Klein's story?
Yeah, there we go.
And it was a 1-parter and a 3-parter.
Ah, yeah. And Paul McGann as Johann Schmidt.
Yeah.
But that's fun.
Yeah.
And in the Gallifrey series, they go to alternative Gallifreys and they meet a version of the Sixth Doctor who's a real cunt.
Yeah.
That sort of stuff's quite exciting. So I just like that little interaction of them in a bar at the end. Tell me a little bit about the art here, because I really like the way it's drawn and there's some very striking imagery.
Yeah, it's by the artist Lee Sullivan.
He was quite a mainstay of the 90s Doctor Who comics from what I remember.
Well, I remember him mostly for doing the art of BBC webcasts, which were weekly instalments of Doctor Who audios with accompanying flash animations, which basically meant you would have a backdrop and then a drawing would suddenly fade onto the backdrop. And then you
you
might have a dramatic zoom into a drawing. But it was pretty cool at the time. So that was Death Comes to Time and Real Time, which were all drawn by Lee Sullivan.
Did he draw Sharda as well?
And Sharda. And he is the best artist at drawing the 6th and the 7th Doctors.
Yeah, I would say that's true. There's one panel, and it's just the 7th Doctor half in shadow, and his face is kind of blurred, and he's kind of looking at it, and it's an amazing little image. And also, that TARDIS interior that you only see right at the end is fucking great.
Yes, yeah, the 90s TARDIS.
The 90s TARDIS. It's everything you want a 90s TARDIS to be. It's the round holes, but it's bigger, and it just looks futuristic, and but it's like it's still classic in design.
That's how it looked in Death Comes to Time, I think.
I think it did, yeah.
He has worked in British comics and done a lot of Doctor Who work. He also is an artist on the Rivers of London comic, which is a tie-in to Ben Aronovich's novel series. He also plays saxophone and toured the UK as part of a Roxy Music tribute band for over a decade before quitting in 2015.
Well, there we go. I mean, there's a good chance our dad has seen Lee Sullivan live in concert then. That sounds like the sort of band that they put on early evening at a convention panel while everybody else is sat in the back having the celebrity dinner, and they're like, oh, we're going to put this on, and then 30 years in the TARDIS for the 40th time.
Ladies and gentlemen, Meatwood Flack.
Anything else you got to say about this particular story?
It would be great if it just wasn't there to explain why I don't care why Davros ends up in a big white globe. It's
exciting imagery, and it's on the surface it looks very exciting, but when you get into the story, it is pure fan wank.
Yeah,
it's also something that I think retroactively you'd now play into the Time War mythos.
Yes,
because they say, oh, it sort of started with Genesis of the Daleks, and then the Skaro being destroyed.
Yeah,
and it's like, if you were trying to put a timeline of the Time War, this would be slotted right in there.
So Absalom Dak definitely fought in the Time War.
Yes, 100%. And he obviously shows up in Time Heist.
What?
There's like a flash of criminals, and one of them is a picture of Absalom Dak.
Yeah, in Time Heist.
Yeah, that's the one. Good times.
Cool.
I mean, that's what I live for. So, Clanger, Banger?
It's a Blanger.
Okay.
Which is kind of a bit of both.
Yeah.
As in, it's really fan wanky, but it isn't bad.
No, I think you're right. And it looks good, which I think is the important thing. And it's exciting enough, page-turning enough, that you don't... I didn't read it in several parts. I flew through it in like half an hour or whatever it took.
Yeah.
And I came out feeling reasonably satisfied. Like a McDonald's. You know?
Yeah, it was a good Subway.
It was a good Subway.
Too hot for TV.
So, that wraps it up for November, the anniversary month. Next month, it's only bloody Christmas.
Oh my God.
December. Now, I picked a few little things for us. That some of them we've discussed, some of them we haven't. So, since it's Christmas time, I thought we'd travel right back to the beginning of Doctor Who in the 60s.
Yeah.
Now, what do you get? What do you get every year at Christmas?
Crackers.
No, if you're a Doctor Who fan.
A sense of disappointment after a Christmas special.
Besides that,
an annual.
You get an annual. So we're going to do a story called The Lost Ones from the 1966 annual. Do you remember that?
No.
No. Yeah. Might have a few Zarbi, a few Minotaur in there, you know, spice things up. Then, this was your suggestion.
Yeah.
You've opened your annual, and you're like, I've got my annual. And then Dad presents you with a bigger present, bearing in mind you're a kid of the 60s.
Yes.
You open the box. It's a big box. What's inside?
Is it a Dalek playsuit?
It's not a Dalek playsuit. We're not going to get up and act out anything.
I'd review that.
I'm sure you would. We're only doing one of the greatest and earliest bits of Doctor Who fiction. The Doctor Who Give a Show projector. And that is about 10 stories, all of which last 1 second.
Beautiful.
But we're not quite done there yet, Jack. Now, I know what you're thinking. It's Christmas Day. The kids are like, I want to play Attack of the Grask again on the red button. But we're not playing Attack of the Grask. We want the original Doctor Who Christmas special. So we're going back to 1966 as well.
Yeah.
for the Doctor, Gillian, and what's the other guy?
Boy.
The Doctor and his 2 grandchildren, Gillian and the boy,
Yes.
in Doctor Who, A Christmas Story, which is an 8-page comic from the TV comic at the time, where Doctor Who meets Father Christmas.
How do you like them apples?
How the fuck do you like them apples? I can only assume that this will be layered metafiction galore as we tread back into some of the earliest Doctor Who spin-off media there is. I, for one, am fucking excited.
For the 3 people that understood any of that, this is going to be good.
This is going to be the trip of a lifetime. So, until next time, I've been Dylan.
I've been Jack.
And we are Doctor Who, Too Hot for TV.
Too hot for TV.